Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. You have been listening a lot about carbon in the air, dirty air, impure air which causes respiratory diseases, asthma, and so on. And the biggest problem today has been, among many others, getting clean air. And voila, here come the scientists with a new thing. Have you heard of a BioSolar leaf? Now, what's this BioSolar leaf? At first glance at them, you might think that they're bright green solar panels. They are not solar panels, but they work in the solar energy. They do not generate electricity. Now, these BioSolar leaves have been developed by a British startup, Arbora, and they are tying up with the Imperial College London for the further research. So they have developed it. It has been used. What they do is there's a panel is placed on the wall of a house outside or otherwise against a pole. And let's calculate the surface area of a tree. It comes to 3 square foot. So that panel is covered, that 3 square foot is covered with the solar, this BioSolar leaves. And they clean air, as much air as 100 trees would do. So a single surface area panel equivalent to 1 tree surface panel would clean as much air as 100 trees would. And they're not using any land for that. Now, this is a great boon for the buildings, for the urbanization, and for the places where there's shortage of land. And then what happens? These solar leaves are bioorganisms. They are cultivated. So the scientists cultivate these leaves. They have living organisms in them. And as a matter of fact, each leaf has millions of microscopic plants. And this plant, as I said, one surface area tree plant can clean up to 100 years. And then they also produce biomass, which can be biodegradable and also can produce sustainable plant-based food products. Now, this is a great thing. So the same tree, the same solar leaf will clean your air, is biodegradable, it can change, and it can also produce food. As a matter of fact, according to Julian Belcroni of Imperial College London, it's a chance to pilot the dual action technology. And that's the most important part. It's in real world conditions, it's not in the labs, and its potential is immense. It tackles the climate change while addressing the critical problem relating to the food system. And as I say, this is the food of the future. The food of the future, the public is suffering from hunger. And as it is suffering from hunger, the only way left is to go to micro algae. Already, seaweed is a much favored food in China, in Southeast Asia. and even in India, spirulina. So this solar leaf can be a part of the food of the future. It grows very quickly, uses only a fraction of the land, and only a fraction of the water for crops and the livestock. So here is not actually a dual technology, but a triple technology. Cleans air, uses practically no land and very limited water, so it saves on three fronts: climate change, land use, and water supply. And this edible algae, as seaweed, popular in China, Japan, Korea for the century, is a very healthy food. So I think this is really a groundbreaking technology, which is to the rescue of the people. But then our frontiers do not ever come to an end. Imagine a dumb person who cannot speak because the vocal cords are not working and he is able to speak. We take speech for granted, but actually, speech is a very complex process that involves the motions of the mouth and the vibrations of the folded tissues called the vocal cord within the throat. And many times, because of some injury or some other thing, a person loses the ability to speak. People have been speaking like Stephen Hawking's synthesized voice, but now the scientists have developed detectors that measure movements of the human skin, like pulse and heartbeat. And now they have also developed an artificial throat which you can wear around your neck. This is a nano-based one, very small, is not very heavy, and you just can have it in the shape of a necklace or a chain. It surrounds your neck, and the vibrations of the vocal cord, which should be audible, go into those nano beads or the nano chain or the wearable, whatever you want to call it. And that stimulates the voice and transcreates the actual voice. So the injured vocal cords remain injured, but they can do their purpose. And these are the two Chinese who have developed this artificial throat, and they have capabilities. It can actually, they say, it need not be worn. You can tape it to the skin. Of course, when you tape it, it's very uncomfortable to wear it because then it is like an artificial tattoo. So what they do is they take a laser scribed graphite of 0.6 inches flexible, and the total size is a thumbnail of the man. Then you attach the skin over the throat, and voila, you can hear. So this artificial throat, nano base, can transcreate and transmute the voice using the injured vocal cord, because the vibrations which go to the vocal cord would come to this artificial throat, then they'll be transmitted back to the mouth and the person would be able to talk. As a matter of fact, even the mute people can be trained to generate signals with their throats, and this device would translate those signals into speech. So you don't need a big computer with synthetic voice and very expensive. This would be quite cheap. Well, like the Apple Watch, the wearables and others, they are all very, very, excuse me, And then, cancer in various forms is a secret, is a problem. And here comes John Hopkins Institute. They have developed a new system which is basically called CompSist. This is artificial intelligence based. And this artificial intelligence based device uses genetic and biochemical markers and can spot pancreatic cancer long before the medical science can do it. They have said that the earlier time and the time saving is 80%. And since you identify pancreatic acid quite ahead of the time, then it's very easy to treat it. And it would reduce unnecessary surgeries in about 74% of the people. 74% people would not have to deal with that. So this is something great. Then, old age has a major problem, and that is Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia. Until now, people have been thinking, the doctors have been thinking, that these are the diseases of the brain. The latest technology, rather the research shows, it's not that. As a matter of fact, alpha glycine in the gut is responsible for Parkinson's, and it starts there and then goes to the brain. As a matter of fact, if you study Ayurveda, you would find that gut is a source of major problems. But the modern allopathic medical science never accepted. According to the new research, human body naturally forms a protein called alpha-synuclein, and it is found in all places, including brain, in the end of the nerve cell. But it's generated from the gut and then travels to the brain and causes Parkinson's. It starts, as I said, and it goes via vagus nerve. What is the vagus nerve? It's the longest nerve in the body. It's a bundle of fiber that starts from the gut, goes to the brain system, and this is the nerve which transports signals to and from the body organs, and the nodal points are brain and the gut. According to Professor Ted Dawson, professor of neurology at Johns Hopkins, again, the credit goes to Johns Hopkins. They say that now, since they know that the gut is the base and not the brain for Parkinson's, it's much easier to treat Parkinson's than it was because of the brain. Brain surgery is practically impossible. Here they say they can conduct some surgery, they can say medication, and see that this naturally formed protein is restricted, the manufacture is restricted, and that would save many lives. And they give hope to the people, especially the aged people. Their hands tremble, they cannot speak, they cannot eat properly, they cannot masticate properly because there's a shivering and the trembling all the time. But saving them from this tragedy would make them much more comfortable and improve the quality of life. So these new frontiers of knowledge open new vistas of happiness. The deaf mute can speak, where Parkinson's can be treated, where BioSolar leaves can clean and also provide food using less water, less land, What else is there? Well, a lot. And we'll see that next week. Thank you.